What's up everyone, and welcome back to another video. This is the second part of the trip that Russell, Bobby, and I did to Australia. We birded Sydney and then headed to Victoria. And we started off at the Western Treatment Plant, which is covered in birds. This place has sort of limited access, but we were able to figure out a way to get in there. And right off the bat, it started off strong with some cool birds just kind of on the road in, like that Nanking kestrel, golden-headed cisticolas were all over the place. A lot of these things were perching on the wire in the entrance road, which gave us pretty good looks. These yellow-rumped thornbills were super fun to watch, bathing and walking around the water and such. White-fronted chat is really cool. This is the first chat that we saw, and it's fun to see something called a chat when we're used to, of course, the formerly known as a parulid yellow-breasted chat in the U.S. Brown falcon was another nice one to go with that Nanking kestrel and representing Falconidae early on as we entered. These guys are pretty variable, we noticed throughout. They don't ever quite look just like a black falcon, but they can kind of really get a lot darker than this. So we had a couple scares where we thought we were maybe getting a black falcon, which we did get later on, but unfortunately there's no video of that. Black kites, on the other hand, we did get. These were super cool. They have really fun, a really fun shape in flight with kind of like a pretty long sort of forked tail, and they're just like a looming presence when they're in flight, similar to red kite, which I had seen in Europe before and really appreciated. This is Brolga. Really awesome bird, awesome name. They are sort of like sandhill cranes in that they have that gray to red color scheme, but there's a lot more red obviously on the face of the Brolga. Hoary-headed grebes were cool. We didn't get to see any in perfect breeding plumage, but this one was pretty close. And then some of them didn't really have any of the tassels or head feathers or whatever, and basically just looked like an eared grebe, like a winter eared grebe. There's a musk duck. These things are crazy. They're pretty closely related to ruddy ducks and birds in that genus, but not quite. And they do this crazy thing, crazy display where they kick up water, which is super fun. And yeah, the lobe situation below their bill, sort of like a reverse comb duck, is also related to selection for these birds. So they have pretty interesting and cool displays as far as ducks go. Pink-eared duck was one of the birds that I had seen a photo of as I was studying species for Australia, and I was like, I need this species. I wanted it more than a lot of the other birds that we were going to run into, so I was really stoked to get them. We could sort of see the pink ear, but it wasn't super great looks, but still awesome species to pick up. We had a female Australian shell duck earlier in the morning, so we were happy to get a really nice male to represent the species. And now I'm going to be quiet so you guys can hear a strided field wren sing. Yeah, I was quite a fan of the complexities of the field wren song, and that's a species that's actually pretty range restricted. They're in Tasmania and the very southeastern portion of Australia, but otherwise not in much else of the country. Red-kneed dotterel was one of the shorebirds that I really wanted when I was looking at lists from the Western Treatment Plant, so we were really happy to get these. They're just a bizarre and cool-looking shorebird. And black-fronted dotterels are cool too. Not quite as cool as the red-kneed, but still a fun one. Yellow-billed spinwheels are weird. Russell and I had quite a few debates on if they were. I don't think I disagree that they were cool, but I guess we were debating if they were pretty. I find the bizarre, like fleshy yellow color on their face to be kind of quite odd and a little bit ugly, but Russell is a big fan on their beautiful train. Here goes an Australian crake, super quick views, as is classic of Rallidae. These whistling kites were cool. They're sort of more on the appearance-wise, they're more on the like hawk side of things than the black kites, but still very cool. Singing honey eater, that of course is a muted clip. I wish it was being a little more vocal so we could get you guys the namesake song, but alas. This is one of the coolest videos I think that Russell got all trip. These crested pigeons were going pretty buck wild, doing some kind of pre-copulation display. I don't know if they ever ended up actually mating, but they were doing this courtship thing for a while. And this is the Cape Barren goose, another pretty sought-after species, and one of the big reasons outside of just looking for lots of species that we ended up at Western Treatment, because this is a pretty restricted species and just like a bizarre and massive goose. The lime on its beak is really, really weird. It was cool to see baseball in Australia, because I've grown up playing baseball, so it was fun to see it played in another country. And the reason that we were at this park was to look for some more urban birds in Victoria, specifically a species called the bell miner, which we ended up getting later, and you'll hear that clip. They sound a lot like a bell, and they're around in Melbourne and stuff, but not everywhere. We got more looks at, obviously in the last clip, rainbow lorikeet, and of course Willy Wagtail, a couple of the ultra common Australia species that really don't get old because they are full of personality and look awesome. And here's a little egret. We moved away from that park and checked out a different, more coastal area where we got little egret, which looks a lot like the familiar snow egret to us Americans. White-plumed honey eater was another really cool pickup here. But we were at this coastal park for a very specific bird. Of course, Australian magpies are in any of these urban parks. The Victoria ones have a lot more white. I forget if it's a subspecies or just a different geographical plumage, but they look different down there with all of that white leading into the mantle. Magpie lark was here as well. Blue-billed duck was a really nice pickup. We had got these at the Western Treatment plant earlier in the morning, but didn't get great looks like this, so that was very fun. This is pretty funny. It's using a human water feature, or I guess this is probably meant for dogs, but it's drinking out of it like it's a human. And this is the real reason that we were here. The Pacific gull is nuts. It looks like sort of classic Laris with the, big looming presence and dark mantle, white below, sort of like a Western gull or a great black-backed gull or whatever. But it has this absolutely massive bill. Just totally nothing like this in the Laridae world. Dolphin gull has a pretty big bill, but it doesn't quite reach Pacific gull standards. So that was just awesome. And that night we went to a somewhat secret spot for little penguin. Here they are copulating, which was funny to see. This spot is very close to the city, whereas some of the other spots you have to pay for. It's a whole tour ordeal. But seeing the first penguin that I've ever seen in the wild was awesome. And the next day we were heading into the outback, and we got this really nice strided pardalote. We also had swift parrot here, which is a bird that is not doing well and is quite rare, so that was a really nice pickup. They were flying over, so no video unfortunately, but that was a really fun pickup. There was also this cool common bronze-wing type of dove we got there, but pardalote is the only thing we got film up. Then as we continued to work towards the outback, these euc forests started to open up a little bit more, and we got some other pretty good, somewhat restricted birds like this weebill. They're really funny. They got the pale eye, kind of like a bush tit or a wren tit, and this tiny little beak, hence the name. White-winged choughs are awesome, corvid-esque bird, and long-billed corellas are really cool as well. Here is another honey eater for our growing honey eater list. This is the brown-headed honey eater. They look like a couple of other species, but we were able to differentiate. And this was one of the coolest animals of the entire trip, the shingleback. They're related to the iconic blue-tongued skinks of Australia. They remind me of, there's like some How to Train Your Dragon that kind of looks like these, but they truly look like crazy dragon animals, and it was really awesome. We got these musk lorikeets just filling up petrol just in town, so that was nice. These are the only ones we saw all trip, and honestly one of the prettier parrots out there. Well, they're all really, really pretty, but the colors on musk parakeet went pretty hard. Jackie Winter was a fun bird, but as far as the robins out there go, they are not the most impressive. That is one of those names, it's just hard not to say with a little bit of Aussie twang. This was a really awesome lapwing. I think it rivaled red-kneed dotterel for one of the cooler shorebirds of the trip. And this fairy wren was incredible. We had been seeing lots of species of fairy wren throughout the trip, but the white-winged might have and probably was the coolest. And here we headed down this road looking for Plains Wanderer, which we did not get. It was a long shot all along, but we were giving it the old college try, and we did get stubble quail out of the adventure, so that was nice. Here's some massive eastern gray kangaroos on our way out, and now we were like pretty much officially in the outback. These emus cemented it pretty well. This was our first morning of true outback birding, and we were working our way towards the Mallee habitat. Seeing emus in the wild was a pretty surreal experience for me. It's always really cool to see animals that you've grown up hearing about, seen in zoos, behaving in the wild. So I was really excited. And this is officially the Mallee. We were here for a couple of target birds, not fan-tailed cuckoo, but that was still a really nice pickup. This was the big target that we picked up, strided grass wren. Very, very, very small range, only really in the Mallee. We also got a really cool species of quail thrush here, as well as some other species that we unfortunately did not get video of. But we did miss a few species like Mallee fowl, unfortunately. Hooded robin was a really cool pied look. There's a lot of really cool birds that have the pied pattern out in Australia, just like a really nice black and white. We got another shingleback too, which is awesome. The scales on these are just crazy. We never got over that herp find. And greater bluebonnets were one of many parrots we saw. We also had a regent parrot out there, Australian ringneck. Fortunately, we didn't get videos of those, but they were really cool. And then we got a cockatiel. This was really kind of mind-blowing. I'd grown up with friends who had cockatiels as pets. Same with the emus, having seen them in zoos. It was wild to see, a bird that's in the pet trade, actually in the wild. And then we got one of the coolest birds of the trip. Oh man, these things were awesome. Pink cockatoo. I think the only thing that could make it better is if they were the color, the pink color of galah, but just one of the coolest birds of the entire trip. And when that crest raises, it's unbelievable. This is just me being obnoxious and showing emu and pink cockatoo in the exact same clip. I was head over heels with excitement at that point. And then we headed back into Melbourne to wrap up a few more urban species that we needed. We were looking for gang cockatoo at this location, but ran into rose robin, which was really cool. Not too many birds have pink. Of course, the last clip was pink cockatoo, but pink is always fun to see. Nice laughing kookaburra. This next video of it hunting, I know I said that the crested pigeon was the best video, but this also could be one of Russell's best of the trip, because that is so awesome. Russell's an insane videographer, guys. I really appreciate what he does to make these videos possible. And this video is actually dropping on our boy Russell's birthday, so happy birthday, Russell. Here's a powerful owl that we got pretty much in downtown Melbourne. It was hanging out in a tree there, and it had just taken out, I think it was a currawong. A couple more eastern gray kangaroos were bidding us adieu as our Victoria, Melbourne legs started to wrap up. And some of the last birds we got of this leg of the trip were hooded plovers, which, sorry lapwing, sorry red-kneed dotterel, officially takes the cake as the coolest shorebird that we had seen thus far. The red orbital ring is so cool. And they still kind of have that pied look going on, especially in the face and with those spurs coming into the white. But they are a really spectacular plover, and it's really cool seeing. It was really cool seeing these because we were on, the rocky, beautiful Victoria coastline, getting them. Thanks everyone for watching, and please stay tuned because we have, it may be 2 parts, but we have the Queensland section coming up.